want to pause it. Resume. There we go. So it's happening. Welcome, everybody. It's Good Friday. It's the 4th. No, it's not. It's the 18th of April.
Yeah.
And it's the Real Estate Chat. And we're talking about real estate with my new friend, my new manager at RE/MAX Hallmark, Kory Gorgani. And I think he can pronounce his name better than I can. And because it's a Kory and a Gorgani. Tell us a little bit about himself, and then we'll look at April, which is we're halfway through, and we've had a lot of bad news in the last little while about people who are saying what had happened in their opinion in March and in February based on the Canadian Real Estate Association's results. And here we're right in it. How many guys do you have in the office, Kory?
We have 227, I believe.
So anything that's happening is happening, and anybody that's got a problem, you know about it. So you know what's happening in the real estate business live.
Right, but it's not just the 227, it's also another 160 in York region. So I've got a good number of agents that
400, 500, man, oh man.
Right.
Okay, well, I forgot about that. Okay,
Yeah.
well, why don't you start off and give us a little capsule of you and why you're so apt at what you do and why you're so capable and why you were picked to take it
Well,
on.
thank you for the good words. I've been selling real estate for a long time, but I've been with RE/MAX Hallmark. This June will be my 17th year, I believe. This June will be my 17th year. I started,
Wow.
17th year with Hallmark. Started in Richmond Hill at 8 Welderick Road West. When I moved from Century 21 to RE/MAX Executive, RE/MAX Executive went south, so Hallmark took over. They called me back, and they called me and they said, "Hey, do you want to come back?" I said, "Hey, where do I sign up?" And that's how it started. 2016, I became a coach. I was still selling, and 2019. I moved from one coaching organization to another coaching organization. I was with them for 4 years, and I slowly started moving away from sales into full-time coaching. And then the opportunity came along, and I joined the leadership team at Hallmark. Started in Richmond Hill, moved to Newmarket, and now I'm the regional team leader for the North Central Division, which is Richmond Hill and Bayview Village.
And if you're not downtown, you're you. You're the whole thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And I just came back from voting. I went and voted early, so there you go.
Advanced polling, very good. Get it out of the way.
Yeah, get it out of the way, right?
Okay, well, shall we look at the charts or shall we just keep kibitzing?
No, I love your charts. As a matter of fact, I share. I wish I could share your charts during my office meetings. I often talk about them, but I don't share them. I share.
No, it's not appropriate. It's not appropriate.
Right. Now I share something very simple charts during my meetings, but I do talk about your YouTube channel, and I also talk, I've got a few folks that are analytical, and those that are analytical, I say, hey, Uncle Bob, you have to watch that video. You have to watch it. And thank you for invitation. So let's just go through your charts.
Okay, so let's see what we do. We can start this. Hit the share. Okay, I hope you can see that. I can see it. It's bouncing around.
It's bouncing around. Yes.
I see me.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I was referring to earlier, record high uncertainty, produced by a fella from the British Columbia Real Estate Association. He comes out with a report twice a month. And he can see that it's going back to 1986 and it's bouncing around like crazy until all of a sudden, whether we can attribute it to one thing or a number of things, this spring 2025, it's just out of this world. If there was such a thing as parabolic curve, that's certainly it jumping up. And I think everybody who's made a comment about real estate this year, because it's consumers, they've said it's a pause. I use the word prorogue because that was happening with the parliament, that everything that could happen is still in place, but it's not happening because people are constrained either by themselves or by other things from doing what they want to do in the order that they might want to do it. So I'm going to start up at the top here where I always start, which is halfway through the month. There's a certain number of reporting days that the Toronto Real Estate Board has every month. They don't count Sunday. And so in this particular month, there's 20. So on the 10th reporting day, I started putting it together, and then I looked at it again because we've had a little bit of a surge. Anyway, this chart is the regular calendar year from January to December that looks at sales, and then I compare it to long-term averages. So on the 16th, we had 4,580, which is the 29th best April of 30 years, which you can see the red stars towards the bottom. It's not very good. It's not very good. 2 days later, on the 18th this morning, the daily pace at 288 reported sales per day, which projects out to 5,760, would make it the 27th best April, which is still a lot better, but it's not very good. We're still below the 10-year average, which is 9,000 and change. And here we are. We're off 35% from a year ago. We're off 42% nearly of the 5-year, 50% of the 10-year, 50% of the 17-year, 50% of the 20-year, 66% of the best April ever. So we know that it's not good. We know that it's not bad if we're in the business, because what we look at as well is prices. And if prices aren't falling off a cliff, if it's not a race to the bottom in price, then something is holding up the prices if it's not volume of sales underneath it. So this one here is the sales again, but what I did was put the number in that adjusted up to 5,760, which is much better than where it was before. This one was pointing to it down before, but it's still only the 27th. It's far away from the average, but it's a little bit better. This, you can see the trend. We would like to see this trend rather than where it seemed to be tailing off. The second half of March was better than the first half of March, and the second half of April seems to be better than the first half of March, notwithstanding we have 4-day holiday weekend that is real estate is still transacting, everything's still going, maybe won't be a factor at all. Okay, inventory, supply and demand. This morning it was 27 and something or other, but here we look at it on the 16th, nearly 27,000 active listings, which is up near the territory where we had in the bad times. What we have now is that coming off of a spec market, there's a lot of people who have properties that they consider to be surplus. They're not performing as appreciation. They're not performing cash flow, in that the rents, maybe they've broken it into 2 or 3 units, are not covering what the expenses were. The expenses were based on them getting a 5-year mortgage at 2% or an open rate, a variable at less than 1%. And now it's just not enough. So they're trying to get rid of those. The condos are flooding all over downtown. All adds up to a lot of inventory, which is slowing things down. Now we're suffering the tail end of this curve that's built up 20% on top of everything going back to 2019. And inflation is defined, if you look at the the Bank of Canada inflation calculator page, they've now added a definition to inflation. Inflation is the devaluation of the purchasing power of the currency, which I think is the most accurate way of thinking it. Not just an increase in prices, but that you have to pay more. The value of the purchasing power of your money has gone down by 20% in 5 years. It's not so good. Okay, I make a guesstimate of what the April price would be, and I put out a best case and a worst case. Here's the array. Here's the best case, and here's the worst case. The best case, and here's the calculations. If you look at what happened over the last 24, 25 years, the best case was it went up by 2.75 years. If we take out 2020, 2020 was COVID, crazy lockdown, 2 weeks to break the curve or whatever they call it. Turned out to be much longer than that, but that's where I got that number. The best case is plus 275, and the worst case is half of the average of the 9 down years. Now, 3 down years out of 24. So normally April is an up year. So that's where we get these numbers. The best case up 275. We're still off 1275 from the maximum April, which is here, and 1045 from a year ago, and nearly 16% from the market peak. But that was a March, and this is an April. You got to compare April's. 4% off the most recent high. Last year's high was in May there, and we're up 275 from the month before. Worst case is where things go down 2% from the month before. Now, in the best case, we're the fourth highest April at 1.123. And in the worst case, we're the fifth highest April at 1.070. So it's about the same. You can see it trending along up and down a little bit. I did one in the middle, but who cares? So there's the background calculation. Here we are back to this record uncertainty. My question here, and Kory, I talk a lot. So anytime you have a comment or you think something is right or wrong, please just jump in there and I'll shut up, because why not?
Yeah, if I may just
Sure.
just jump in. 3 days ago we were 29th best, and today we are 27. So that's
It's an improvement.
that's an improvement. And I'm all indicators are for best 2.7, not the worst, especially with.
Oh, and the prices, sure.
Yeah. So fantastic. So yeah, that was only comments. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So if we take what you've just said there, is I think we've got a market that is trying to do well. In the spring, we normally see it do well because a young man gets a new car, a mature man gets a new house, and a crazy man gets a new girlfriend in the spring. It's spring fever. So if there is this uncertainty that's holding people back, who has been hyping this uncertainty about things? About things, these tariffs that may not ever happen. I believe it's part of the election. I'll be so glad when this election is over. We also had a lot of speculation about what was going to happen with interest rates. Now, at 2.75% bank rate, interest rates somewhere around just under 4, it's not bad. We've seen much worse, higher interest rates for a long period of time. And throughout my whole career, I remember $10.32, which is the 25-year amortization of 12% interest. That's what rates were most of the time. When it came down to 10, I had to find a new benchmark to multiply what it's going to be. But I still know 10.32. So most recently in the press, the Canadian Real Estate Association put out their results, and everybody from the Bank of Nova Scotia to the Royal Bank to everybody had their impression, the monthly come out with, and they look like CREA must look at the rear view, because in April they put out the March, because they had to get everybody together and put it together in a week. And so then the Royal Bank looks at it and says, my goodness, look at the volatility of the real estate market since 2007. Up 10%, up 30%, up 30% in a year, ridiculous. Down 18% in a year, ridiculous. And this holds true for Canada, and Vancouver is the other big market, but not as extreme as we're having in Toronto. And we've lived through it. We can come up with all kinds of reasons. When the end of the month comes, we'll look at 905 and the differences in sales and in prices and in this and in that. But particularly you, Kory, if you've got insight into all these sales reps that are working in all of York Region, and some in Durham, I'm sure, and some scattering out to Mississauga. That whole 905, plus the 416, the office is situated right in Willowdale. What do you think?
Right. I actually think the hold on the 2.75, it isn't a bad thing. Okay, let's get on with our lives. Let's just,
The interest rate.
right, the interest
Yeah.
rates. Let's just get on with our lives. I thought about it, but some buyers are waiting for interest rates to drop and they're sitting on the fence. What is it going to happen? So I say 2.75 didn't move, and now is it rock bottom? Uh, Is it time to buy? Yes, it's time to buy, and let's move forward with it. Now, um, I'm also looking at the number of showings, the number
Ah,
of offers. I'm also
yep,
looking at the number of sales that are written.
yep.
And what I see steadily every week for York region, we are around 7,500 to 8,000 showings. And in the Toronto region, we're looking at, anywhere from 12 to 13,000 showings every week. And I see sales are happening. And in York region, 61 showings to a sale. In Toronto region, 45 showings, so 45 showings to a sale. This tells me people are out there.
It's just the pace that's reduced.
Right.
It's like
And
December.
right. We are in a mindset economy. And for us, we are in an action market. So people are on a pause. Absolutely. Whether you call it a pause or a hold. But Rob, this market sooner or later will turn. When will that time be? Will it be after the election? I don't know.
Hmm.
But there's tons of showings happening and people are out there. If showings drop to 1,000 a week, and I look at it weekly, Sunday to Sunday, if it drops to 1,000 to 2,000, I'd be worried. But I'm not worried.
Because
I'm
you
not
can see the activity, and just like you say about prospecting, your activity is a precursor to the activity.
Absolutely. Every Monday morning when I walk into the office, I walk around the offices and I
Sale.
say, how was your week? How was your weekend? How was the open houses? Did you get any people in? How many couples? People are out there. Lady was telling me the other day in Scarborough, they had a decent home for sale and they had to shut the doors. That many people, that many. When was the last time you heard that? Okay.
And boom, yeah.
Yeah, we've got another great agent out of the beaches was telling me that they received six offers on, six offers on one of their properties that they listed, and the price was pretty high. So people are out there. People are out there, and the rate 2.75, well, it is what it is.
That's right.
It is
And
what it is.
okay, because I in these little talks, I talk about five classes of people, and we try and say, okay, what would you do if you're one of them? We got first-time buyers,
Yes,
and I think what you've just told us is first-time buyers are out there looking. They're looking for the best they can possibly find, and if they see something, they jump on it. They maybe don't pay full price, but that's what they got to do.
Rob, if I may just hold you there, I was in a session where there were a few bankers there, and one of the bankers said that 90% of the mortgages they've written in the first quarter in January, first-time home buyers.
Naturally.
First-time home buyers, they're out there. The people who were thinking of upsizing, those are the ones that are putting their plans on hold.
Because they don't have to. They already have a house.
Right. The people who are thinking of downsizing, they are putting their plans on hold because they want the most the market will pay.
Last time seller.
Anybody who's purchased the relocators, anybody who's purchased a new home that needs to move into a new home, first-time home buyers, new to this country, the ones that came with money, they are out in the market. First-time home buyers are new to the country. And of course, those who have to sell. And those are folks who, as an example, let's say, a separation case.
Yeah.
Okay. So Those are the mortgages that are being written right now. But the good thing is showings are happening, sales are happening, and people are out there.
So you're just waiting for the daffodils to pop through and everything's going to be wonderful.
And I am kind of worried in a sense, Rob,
Hmm.
because all of these folks that are on hold may end up paying more for what they can get today.
Well, if you weren't in sales, then I would think that would make everyone think that that's what they should do. And I
Yeah,
think that's probably what they should do because it's not going to get quiet. It's not going to fall apart. This is it a fear of inflation? Is it a fear of a recession? And both of them are adding together to create a nothing. But
right,
if we have a recession, well, God bless everybody. It's going to be a terrible time, and then it'll be over. But I
right.
don't see that. And fear of
I don't see that
inflation
happening either.
might be that'll be the solution that gets us out of this
A
affordability
2%,
kind of thing.
a 2% drop in average home price year over year, that doesn't worry me.
No, 50%,
Prices
30%, 40%. There's some, but not too.
prices haven't dropped. Interest rates are going steady. People are out there, showings are happening. And once this election is over, um, I'm anticipating a July, a really heated summer market. That's
Mm,
what I'm anticipating. That's what my gut tells me based on my experience and based on what I'm seeing and hearing agents tell me every single day about their buyers and about their sellers. We've got tons of buyers, we've got tons of sellers, and we've got listings. Okay, and the inventory is out there. Okay, 4 months ago, 1 in 5 homes was selling. Today, 1 in 3 homes are selling.
big difference.
Big
Almost twice as
difference.
good.
Exactly. Okay, exactly. So, yeah, fantastic.
Well, I'd said to you before that it's always darkest before the dawn, and
Yes.
there's a lot of people that are pushing this. Negative things are going to happen next. I don't believe it. I take it you don't believe that bad things are going to happen next. So, um, fantastic! What a great insight you're able to bring to real estate chat.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So I can wind it up, or you can tell me something else, or you can tell the whole world something.
Um, we're good.
Okay.
We're good. Happy Easter, of course.
Thanks very much. And Passover is just winding its way through the system too.
Yes,
And
absolutely. Yes, yes. Yeah, good. It's I'm talking to agents every single day and they come to me and they say, "Hey, I'm worried, things are not moving, things are not happening." So I tell them, "Do you have a funnel? What's your pipeline look like?" And I see they have a full pipeline. Okay. So people are out there, and when people are out there, we are not really worried. Yes, things are on a pause, but sooner or later that will change. And when an agent comes to me and it says, "Hey, I don't have any business," that's a totally different story. And that's when, the first thing that I say is, "What are you doing on a daily basis to bring business?" So that's a different story.
mm,
In terms of the market, I'm optimistic. Sales are happening, showings are happening, offers are being written, and people are out there. Open houses are steady. I get anywhere from 3 couples to 6, 7 per open house per 2 hours. Um, of course, I also say, what is an agent doing in order to bring people to the open houses? But then again, we are going down a different path. So
that's right.
people are out there, and I'm optimistic once the elections are over, once give it a few weeks, it'll all settle down. And
Yeah. Well,
regarding the tariff thing,
yeah.
it won't last long. It just can't go on like this. So yeah,
Well, it's not a boom, and I think that's a good thing.
yeah,
But it's definitely not a bust.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
um,
It's not doom
I'm
and
gonna
gloom either.
I'm gonna side with you, Kory, and thank you again. And let's sign her off for now.
Absolutely, and thank you again for the invitation.
You're welcome, sir.